Hi, it's Ron Heinlein with DTF, or I should say DTFootwear.com. Sometimes I get the medical and the website a little confused, but it's DTFootwear.com. And again, in my office, one of our live videos. And what I want to talk about today is ulcerations, wounds, and bruises, mainly for diabetics. I find a few people have pressure wounds and maybe ulcerations, but are not diabetic. But that's usually it's related to diabetics. I'm going to tell you a story about my dad that's quite interesting. A wound, or let's start with a bruise. A bruise is that you're going to go hit your foot on something hard, a wall, a table leg, a chair leg, or something like that, and it creates a bruise. Well, as a diabetic, bruises can turn into wounds very easily, and neglect can turn a wound into an ulceration. I always check the top of your feet, but excuse me, always check the bottom of your feet. And there's a lot of people, because of size and problems of bending and everything, cannot check their bottom of feet. Have a family member or friend check the bottom of your feet. That's where you don't find these bruises or wounds or ulcerations. And if it gets into a bruise, generates into a deeper wound, and you still see discoloring around the wound, maybe even some form of pus or something, or infection would be another name for it, get to your podiatrist as soon as possible, because there's just no way we wanted to have that to turn into an ulceration. And an ulceration isn't treated. It can go from the bottom of the foot all the way through the top of the foot. And when it heals, it doesn't always heal inside, it heals outside, but it is susceptible to have more infection, more growth per se. But normally a podiatrist will know what to do, will treat it. But if it turns an ulceration, you definitely have got to, because the next step after that is major infection, gangrene, amputation. This is why the diabetic footwear program came into effect in '95, because amputation was just getting outrageous, very costly for Medicare, for people losing their usually they'll lose their ankle or their foot, or they'll cut below the knee. Sometimes they're using 3 steps, and after rehab, it gets to be very expensive. And diabetic footwear has reduced amputation, and that was the purpose of the law. And to get better footwear, get the proper inserts to these people that will generate the circulation, keep the disease out of the foot from there. So basically, just as a diabetic, a person who's not diabetic still needs to watch a bruise or a wound, and that always turns it on, but can get infected. And infected can be very painful. So keep it, and always check the bottom of your feet. Diabetics who have neuropathy, and we'll probably talk a little bit about neuropathy in one of these other live videos. Basically, they have no feeling. I had a story one time. I remember my car broke down, and I had a truck driver driving me back. I don't know, I think it was Palm Springs or something. I was coming back on for the medical company, and he had told me, he said, "What did you do?" And I says, we provide the medical company diabetic footwear for major facilities all over the country. He says, "Well, I'm a diabetic." And he says, "The other day, I was at the pool, forgot to wear my flip-flops for protection, and was standing there, and the kids were screaming. Blood was coming all over the place on the bottom of my feet. It was so hot out there. He has no feeling in the bottom of his feet. That's because of neuropathy. No feeling." And we run into that in the medical field, very much so. No feeling at all, and he didn't feel his feet burning, and the skin just came off, had serious problems. And he learned his lesson again. As a diabetic, you do not go barefooted. You do not go barefooted. In his case, it was totally, it was stupidity. He admitted it. He admitted it from that point. So that is what ulcerations. But I'm going to give you a story. My dad, they always said, was a borderline diabetic, and I considered him more of a diabetic than not. I'm a borderline diabetic, not a true diabetic, but real close to being a diabetic. And I've been watching my weight and watching my intake and everything, and I've been able to do okay. But he had issues through the medical company, and what year he had them for 6, 7, 8 years. Loved it. One shoe, only one shoe, white athletic shoe. He loved, but and he also loved the inserts. Just loved them, and we had no problem with ulcerations at all. No problems at all from ulcerations, and we had been able to keep with the inserts, keep the disease, the diabetes out of his feet. 5 years ago, he passed away on what was it, February 20th, and about a week or two, or a week, I was in hospices in the hospital, and I looked at his feet, and he had two major ulcerations, two major ulcerations, and my fault, because I should have got him into a slipper or something that had protection, and also to keep the insert, because what happened is that the inserts went away. He wasn't wearing the shoes because he was non-ambulatory, and we basically forgot to get him shoes or protect him and keep those, that insert where it generated the circulation. And for maybe 2-3 months, something like that, here comes two ulcers. They go, whoa, hey, there's nothing down there to keep me out of the feet. Here I go. Remember, diabetes stops at the eyes, stops at the fingers, it stops at the feet. Okay, eyes will gravity bring it down, but you've seen blindness happen to a number, or heard stories that fingers, you normally don't have too much problems because you're moving your hands, everything around so much. But how in the world do you get them out of your feet, the disease out of your feet? That's what the inserts do. The inserts raise the temperature up 2% and generates circulation and keeps them out of the feet. 1 out of 4 will be attacked by diabetes, and the older we get, the higher that percentage will go up. But 1 out of 4, and I asked the doctor the other day, because we have to get prescriptions and everything. I says, and he said, well, this person's not ambulatory. I says, he's in a wheelchair? Yes. I says, and if I put 4 wheelchairs there and one of them good, can you tell me which one? He says, no, I can't tell you who's going to be diabetic from that aspect. But this person was a diabetic, but doctor didn't think he needed shoes because he's non-ambulatory. And basically I said, he sits on that wheelchair, he puts his foot on the insert. As long as his foot's touching that insert, it's generating that circulation. That's why we give 4 of them or give 3 of them and have them switched every 4 months, because they do compress themselves down. They do lose their effect of raising the temperature up. And I says, and they are the worst people in their wheelchairs because they bump into everything. And if they're not protected, that bruise or that bump turns into a bruise, could turn into a wound, and could turn into an ulceration, and then could turn into an amputation. And it does happen quite often, or not as much as it used to. So this is what the story was about. This is what ulcerations, the 3 words, were about. Remember, the inserts work great for my people who do not have diabetes, and it's turned out to be a great offloading, comfort, support, balance to a ton of people. And that's what I love about the durometer of inserts. And again, you get 3 of them free every time you purchase, and it's a $240 value. Again, I've repeated that over and over again, but it's something I need to go, because most people have no understanding about these inserts, no understanding about the inserts. And once you wear them and you stop wearing them, and you're going to realize, whoa, I've lost support, I've lost comfort and everything. I had a friend today, I just was in our warehouse today, and he's a gentleman that runs the warehouse, and he went to a trade show, and I was asking how that went, And he says, great. He said, I had my inserts that I wear all the time, and he showed them to me. He said, I had dress shoes, and I had to wear those for, showtime presentation. He says, my feet were killing me. My instep was killing me. My arch was killing me. I'm just so used to those supports, and with them out, it's like me walking on a hard linoleum floor. And he said, he showed me, I got them, and now I feel great. But man, those days were long and hurting. And when you hurt, your feet hurt, you hurt all over. So again, this is a story to educate you, tell you that it's a story that came very close to my life, or my family, my loved ones. If you have anybody that's suffering through any form of discomfort, can't find right sizes, can't get the proper fit, can't get good service, can't get good product, everything else from that point, and make sure you stay with a therapeutic shoe every time for all your purposes, everyday work and everything, because it makes a difference. Please tell your loved ones, please tell your friends, be our word of mouth for us and watch us grow. We're still an infant in this, and we are growing unbelievable. The response has been phenomenal. We shipped out a ton of shoes today to customers, and we're just excited as can be. So God bless you and have a great day.